Okay, so today's daf is daf Yud Ches. We're at the beginning of the third parak, Maseches Brachos. We're on the Mishnah, actually on the bottom of Yud Zayin and Yud Beis. Okay, and the Mishnah says, Misha Mesai Muta Lefanav, one whose dead person. We'll see if this is a reference to a person who is sinning Shiva for one of their 7 relatives, which includes a person's father, mother, daughter, son, brother, sister, or spouse. Okay, and they're sitting shiva for them. Misha Misa Muta Lefanov is before them. Pater Mikrishma, and they hasn't been married. He's actually Pater from Krishma, Minat Tefillah, and from prayer, Minat Tefillin, and from putting Tefillin on Bechol Mitzvos Mors B'Torah, and from all the mitzvahs that are said in the Torah. Okay, now Siyamita, those who carry the bed, those who are carrying the aron, V'Chalufehen, and those who are going to switch off and help assist in the carrying of the aron, and those who are going to take it from them. So the Mishnah makes a discrepancy between those that are in front of the bed, meaning those who are waiting for the bed actually with the mace to pass them and haven't yet done the mitzvah of carrying the dead. And those who already carried it or who have already fulfilled the mitzvah. Those who are in front of it who have not yet received it. The ones who are in the front row and are actually going to be holding the aron, they're pater. And those who are after it, those who are needed are chayiv, that are still holding on to it. And they're both of them are, and every one of these is pater from tefillah. Okay, kavru is hames, and the concept is the pater from tefillah because tefillah takes more time. You have to slip away, and to be able to stop for a second to say Shema, they'll have the time. Okay, now kavru is hames. They buried the dead person. The chazru, and they're returning, and they're going back to the house of the avelim. And what happens is they return. We talked about the concept of shura, where they set up these rows, and the avelim, the mourners, walk in between them. Okay, if they're able to start saying Shema and finish again the first sentence, the first paragraph, the whole thing, actually shura, until they reach the shura, yaschilu, they should start. They shouldn't start at all. Okay, now mishura, those who are standing in the shura and Zman Krishma right now, ha'pnimim puturim, those who are in the innermost of the lines, that the mourners are actually going to pass them, and they're going to say Hamakim Yinachem Eschem. They're pater, achitzionim chayavim, and the ones who are outside of it were just there and giving respect, but they're not actually going to be able to talk directly in front of the mace. Then in front of the avelim, the mourners, they are chayav. Okay, now the Gemara says, the Gemara makes an inference. We said the one whose dead person is in front of him. Now, is that literal? Mutav lefanav in. It seems to say that the one whose dead person is in front of him. He's not yet buried. But she'ena muta lefanav, if it's not in front of him, meaning if he's down the street or if he's somewhere else, loy, he would not be pater, and he would have to be chayiv in krishma and tefillah and tefillah. Okay, says the Gemara very mini. I'll ask you a question. It's a steer from a brisa. We have a contradiction. It says, Misha made some lefanav, one whose dead person is in front of him. He should eat in another house. We'll see in a minute. We'll have this concept of loyig l'rush cheref, that one shouldn't mock the poor, or in this case, really the dead person who's like the poor, who doesn't have anything, who doesn't have an ability to make brachos, doesn't have an ability to serve Hashem. It's already finished. Okay, so if his dead person is in front of him, he should eat in another house. He should eat in another room. If he has no other place to eat, another room to eat in, he can eat in his friend's house. Then he should make some sort of partition, and then he could eat. Okay, if he doesn't have anything to create this partition, he can just turn his face and eat. Okay, but it says he does not lean over. Rashi says the way people who are people of stature would sort of lean on these couches to eat. Okay, which is like a complete meal. They shouldn't be doing it that way. Okay. He doesn't eat meat, he doesn't drink wine, and he doesn't have to bench, say Brachos hamotzi. Okay, and he doesn't have to say Brachos hamazon after, right? In terms of joining that, and he doesn't have to have someone else biyotzi him. Okay, and they can't be mitzdarf him for a zimun. Okay, Krishma, he's exempt from Krishma, Minat Tefillah, Minat Tefillin, we call Mitzvos and more start from all the Mitzvos. Shabbos, on Shabbos, Mesiv v'Eichel, he does lean as like business as usual. V'Eichel Basar, he does eat meat, Yain, does drink wine, and Mavarech, Umezamnu, Mavarech and love. He become part of the Zimun. He does the Brachos Hamazon, Mavarech and Umezamnu, V'Chai B'Chol Mors B'Torah. Okay, Rosh Gamliel says mitoch sheschai be'elu, since he's responsible, he's responsible for these, and schai be'kul, he's responsible for all of them. Okay, what's that a reference to? Rabbi Yochanan, my benai, what's the difference between Rosh Gamliel and the Tanna Kama, in the anonymous opinion at the beginning of the Brisa? Ika benayu tashmish hamita. Okay, which is sexual relations, which is the chiyuv a husband has to his wife, the responsibility a man has to fulfill his wife's needs in terms of giving her pleasures. So on Shabbos, when the question is whether he has his responsibility of ona, of giving his wife this pleasures on during the state of avelus or not. Okay, so since it's betzina, that's the discussion. Rabbi Gamliel says that he's also chayiv in ona, and Tanna Kama says not. Okay, but in any event, katani mias, this brisa says pater mikriya shema u'minat tefillah u'minat tefillin v'chol mitzvos zmor b'Torah, even though he's in a different house, right? A completely different house, so the dead person is not literally in front of him. Papa answers, no, read that line that he's responsible for all that he's pater from Kriyishma and all these other mitzvahs, only in reference to the case of what we said, where he doesn't have another partition, he doesn't even have a supplies to make a partition, where he just turns his face. So if he turns his face, he's actually in front of the dead person, and therefore he's pater from Kriyishma, Tefillah, and Tefillin. Okay, Rav Ashi Amar, his alternative answer, Kevan shemuta lalav l'kover, since it's incumbent upon him to bury the mace, kemuta lafanadavi, it's as if the dead person is literally in front of him. Okay, even though it's not literal. Shenemar, like the verse says, Vayakam Avram mi'alpanei meso, Avram got up from the face of his dead one, right, which is a reference, which is talking about Sarah. V'nemar ve'ekvar mesim lafanai, and I will bury my dead from before me. Okay, and even though she wasn't right in front of him, kolzman shemuta lalav l'kover, as long as it's incumbent upon him to bury her, kemuta lafanav dami, is as if it's placed in front of you. Okay, so therefore the inference now, misha mesa muta lafanav doesn't in fact mean, as we had thought originally, literally that the dead person's in front of you, because even if you're in another house or another room, as long as it's incumbent, the responsibility is upon that one who's mourning to bury the dead person, he has to, he is actually exempt from these Torah responsibilities. Okay, so then the Gemara continues. Meso in. We have another inference. We said Misha Meso, his dead person. So what does that mean? The inference is Meso in only if it's one of his 7 relatives, like we just explained. Aval Mishmar Lo. Duty, okay, now he's a friend of the family, or he's some other relative who actually is just there to guard the mace. We know that once a person dies, we have guards who stay with the body at all times until it's buried. So therefore, the inference is only if it's his dead person, but not if it's. The Gemara, what do you mean? Vatanya, we have a brisa that says, "Hamishamer, a person who watches a dead person, afal pisha ein mesa, even if it's not his own loved one, it's not one of his own 7." Okay, Pater mikrishma minat tefillah v'chol mitzvos b'Torah. And the diuk is mishamro, it's his guard. So the Gemara says mishamro afal pisha ein mesa. Okay, as the guard, he is exempt even if it's not his own, and meso, the person who is its own dead person, afal pishen mishamro, even if it's not, he's the one guarding it. And meso mishamro in, so that's what the Gemara comes out with. Okay, so that answers it. So then we have 2 different stages. We have one who's in fact responsible. It's mutal alav, right? Therefore, it's kemutal lefanav dami, where he has the responsibility. So even if he's in the next city, it's as if it's in front of him, and he's pater from Krishma and from these other tefillin and tefillah. And we have one who is actually mutal lefanav, even though it's not his own one of his own 7 relatives. Okay. Now we have another inference, and that inference is meso umishamro in. Okay. Now only one who is his dead, even if he's not in the same room, or if it's a guard and he is in the same room, in. Yes, those people are exempt. One who is just walking in a cemetery, he would not be pater. He would be chayev. Says the Gemara Vatanya, we have a brisa that says, one should not walk in a cemetery. V'tefillin barosha, with tefillin on his head, v'sefer Torah b'zroa, and a learning from a Torah in his hand, the Korah and reading. V'im osakin, if he does this, over mishum loyig l'rosh cheriv eseu. Okay, he is over this concept of loeg l'rush. Loeg l'rush means again mocking the poor. Cheref aseu, as if he's doing he's shaming his creator. Okay, which is basically means that he's mocking the dead for not being able to do mitzvahs. Okay, so you see what? That one is pater from these mitzvahs, even if he's in the cemetery and it's not his loved one, and it's not he's the guard. He's not guarding it. So the Gemara says no. Hasan teich arba amos hu da'aser. That in that case where you're not a relative and you're not guarding it within 4 amos. Okay, 4 cubic meters, 4 distance of 4 amos, that is when you are going to be pater. A dead person literally grabs, but takes up 4 amos, l'krishma. But when it comes to a person who's guarding it and a person who is his mace, even chutz l'dal amos is pater. Okay, so those are the 3 different stages that we have. Now the Gemara continues. Gufa, this is the second to last of the thin lines on Daf Yudches. Gufa we learned earlier. One who guards the dead person. Afal pishein mace, it's not his own dead. Pater mikrishma min atfila v'chol mitzvos amoras b'tara. Hayu shnayim, if there were 2 people. Zeh mishamer v'zeh korah. This one should watch, and the other one could slip away and read the krishma. V'zeh mishamer v'zeh korah. And this one could watch, and then his friend could slip away. But as I omer hayubah mispina, if they were coming on a ship and the dead person was on the ship with them, they could leave the dead person in one corner. They could both go together during this amount of krishma in the other corner and read the krishma. So the Gemara says, "My benai, what's the difference between the 2?" Amar Ravina, the question is that whether we have a chashash, if the dead person has to be washed at all times, because of rats. Now the question is, ikabenayu. That's the difference. Mar sabar chashinan, umar sabar lechashinan. The question is, the Tanakama says that one could slip away, one has to watch. That's on dry land, but on a boat, he would say that you can, like we just said, that you can. On a boat, Ravina is going to say that you would have to that he's choshesh la'achbarim. Okay. Now, what's choshesh? I'm sorry. The Ben Azai would be choshesh ba'achbarim, and therefore Ben Azai said that if you're going on a ship. Ben Azai is saying if you're going on a ship and you had the ship there, you don't have to be afraid that there are rats on the ship, and therefore you can leave the dead person in one corner, and both people can leave. But according to Tanakama, he would say that if it's on a ship, we're still afraid of achbarim, and therefore they should also slip away. One still always maintaining an eye on the dead person. Then the Gemara continues. A person moving bones of a dead person from one place to another. He should not put him in the lashon of a sakya. Sakya is a bag, and dusakya means a double-sided, like a saddle bag, which goes on both sides of the animal. You shouldn't put the bones in a saddle bag, put them on top of a donkey, and ride on them. Why? Because that's considered disrespect and disgrace to the dead person. But if he's afraid of the non-Jews or the people who would give him a problem, and because of the bandits, mutter, he's allowed to do this, even though it's disrespectful, because in the end he's going to be at least be able to transport the person's bones. Okay, and the Brachos continues, and as we said by bones, Kachamer b'Sefer Torah says about Sefer Torah. Now the Gemara asks, hey, on which part of the Brachos is that referring to? Ilema Reisha, that's talking about the Reisha, that you shouldn't put a Sefer Torah in a saddlebag. Pshita. Migar a Sefer Torah. Is a Sefer Torah, is a Torah scroll worse than bones of a person? No, of course we wouldn't allow that disrespect. And Laseifa must mean that the Chiddush is Aseifa. That where we said that in a place where we're afraid of bandits or people giving you a hard time, so the same goes with the Sefer Torah. Even though it's a disrespect, it's better to be able to disrespect it now for a short time and get it to its final place of where it has to go than to have be given a hard time by powers who can actually stop you from being able to transport it. Okay? Now the Gemara continues. Amar Rachava, Amar Yehuda, Kol Haraya Mace, whoever sees a dead person, or sees a delegation or a funeral, who doesn't walk with it at all, doesn't accompany it, he's over because of this concept of mocking the poor. If he does in fact accompany it, what is his reward? The verse says, Hashem considers it as if you're that you're mechabdo chonen evyon, that you as if you had lent money to Hashem himself. Okay, because you're doing this act we talked about earlier about the concept of chesed shel amos, of true kindness, is one who helps a dead person because there's no one poorer than him, and he has no ability to ever repay you. Okay, so the Gemara continues. Rav Chiya Rav Yonasan, the story of Rav Chiya Rav Yonasan, Abishakli v'Azli bebeis hakfaros. They were walking in a cemetery, and Abakashdaik Techilted Rav Yonasan, or a reference to his tzitzis, were dragging along on the floor. Rav Yonasan's tzitzis. He had told them, Dalye, pick them up, make sure that you tuck them in, and you can't be seen. Why? That the dead people shouldn't say tomorrow they're coming to us. Soon they're going to die. And now they're trying to embarrass us. They're trying to show that we can't do mitzvahs. And it's actually brought in the halacha that one is supposed to tuck his tzitzis inside his pants when he walks into a beis hakfaros. Okay, so Amar Lei, this is what happened. Rav Yonasan told back to Rav Chiya, do dead people know so much? The verse says that dead people don't know nothing. They don't know anything. Amar Lei told him, no, Im Karisa, if you learn that verse, La Shanisa, you didn't review it. And Im Shanisa, if you didn't review La Shilashta, you didn't do it a third time. And Im Shilashta, if you did it 3 times and you actually know what the verse and you got it down right, you never got the right explanation from the beginning. Why? Because we know the verse says that the live will know that they're dead. Elu tzadikim, those are tzadikim. Okay, that shibimisasa nikruchayim, in their even in their death they're called alive. Shenemar, like the verse says, and now we bring a proof from the verse. It says Ben Yoyada. Ben Yoyada was the Rosh Sanhedrin. Okay, and he was a outstanding Talmid Chacham. And the pasuk we're going to say now, he actually was the greatest Torah scholar that lived in the first End Temple periods. Ben Ishchai, he was. We'll see what this means in a minute. Rav Polim Mikapatzel, he would gather many workers. Hu Hika Shnei Ariel Moav, he hit the 2 lions of Moab. Hu Yard, and who went down Hika Sarin, hit the lion B'toch Habar in the pit B'yom HaShelag on a snowy day. Okay, and now the Gemara is going to explain this pasuk and to tell us what this means. Ben Ishchai. Now this is the reason it comes in. He's the son of a live man. Atu Kuli Alma B'nei Mesin Inu. What do you mean? Everyone else is the son of dead people. Ela Ben Ishchai. You know why he's called Ben Ishchai? Shafilu b'misasai. His father Ben Yoyada. Right, Ben Yoyada, even in his death, Karichai is called alive. Okay, so we see that he knows what's going on. Rav Poalim Mikpatzel, he gathered many workers. What does that mean? Shariba v'kibitz Poalim l'Torah, workers for Torah study. Okay, it means he gathered many scholars. V'hu Ika, he hit the Shnei Ariel Moab, the 2 mighty ones, the lions of Moab. What does that mean? Shelo heniach. He didn't leave Kamoso of someone of his stature. No one was equal to him. Okay, and that explained that why it was called Ariel Moab, because the 2 Beis Hamikdashes came from Shlomo, David and Shlomo, which were descendants of Moab, Rus Moavia. Okay, then the Gemara says, "V'hu Yarad, he went down. He hit the lion in the pit on a snowy day." So some say Ikda Amri that he would go and he would break ice actually to go down and to purify himself in a body of water in the mikvah. And Ikadamri, some say that Tana Sifra de Beirav, he learned the Sifra de Beirav, which is very difficult measures, very difficult understandings. Biyoma is used in a winter day. Okay, on a Yom HaShelag, literally a snowy winter day, which is a very short day, and he was able to complete the whole thing in one winter short day. Okay, so he said, and the second part of the pasuk, which says that the dead people don't know anything. What is that talking about? The next part, Elu Rishayim, those are evil people. Even when they're alive, Korean Mason, they're called dead. Shenemar va'ata yu halal rasha. That's Yisrael. Okay, and he calls the Rasha a halal, which is a dead person's body. Some say mehacha, because the verse says al pishnayim edim or shleisha edim yumas hames. One who is responsible for doing something that's bad, and he gets the death penalty. It says by 2 edim or 3 edim, the yumas hames, the dead person will die. Now that doesn't make sense because he's alive. Chayu el hames mikar, we call him dead from the beginning because of his evil wrongdoings. Says the Gemara, the first wide line on Yudches Samebes. The Gemara continues. Bnei Rav Chiya, the sons of Rav Chiya, Nafik L'Kriyasa, they went out to the city. Aikulu Talmudayu, they went out to take care of their business, to take care of their inheritance. Okay, and Aikulu Talmudayu, they forgot their learning. They were having a hard time remembering their learning. Have a commentary ladkuri. They were paying themselves to remember. Do you remember the halacha with this? Do you remember that? One of the sons of Rav Chiya told the other, Yoda avun b'hayit tzar. Does our father know our pain that we're going through, trying to remember these halachas? The other one told him, Yoda. How is he supposed to know? The verse says, "Yichavdu banav lo yada." Right? We heavy on his sons, and they're not going to know. The person doesn't know. The other one told him, he doesn't know. The verse says, that the reference to the person's going to have worms come out of his body after he dies, go in and out of his body. It's going to be like and Rav Yisrael says, the worms that go into the dead person are hard, they're painful, as if one has needles going through his skin when he was alive. So you see that they do know. So he told them no. Amri bitzara didhu yadai. They know their own pain, but they don't know the pain of others. And therefore he doesn't know what we're going through now with our pain. Says the Gemara about Tanya, there was a story with a chassid, the pious man. The story was a poor person that came to his house the night of Rosh Hashanah, the eve of Rosh Hashanah, and he gave him a dinner. Okay, now Bishani B'tzaris in the time of a famine, Netitzu Ishta and his wife angered him. And basically what happened, they explained the story was, he gave this poor person tzedakah, and his wife came home and said, "Where's the money?" And she said, "I gave it to tzedakah." And obviously being practical, his wife got very upset at him. And he went to sleep in the cemetery. Okay, now some of the Mefarshim explain that he was a chassid, he was a very pious person. So it was Erev Rosh Hashanah. Now he realized that he got into a fight with his wife, and he needed a musar shmuz. He needed to be able to give himself some good tochacha. So what did he do? He needed a crash course. It was Erev Rosh Hashanah. He didn't have time to sit there and to make sure that he got the job done well. So that night he slept at Rosh Hashanah. He slept in a Beis HaKvaros. He slept in a cemetery. Why? Because the cemetery is the greatest way to remember our transience, basically the temporableness of this world, and the best way to do tshuva. So he went and slept in a cemetery. Okay, and what happened? He was in this cemetery. He heard two ruchos, which literally means winds. It means two spirits that were talking one to the other, who had died, and they were buried in that cemetery, and they were talking one to the other. One said to her friend, "Chaverti, my friend, let us go float around the world. We can hear on the other side of the curtain, meaning literally what's going on in the Bezin Shalmala. We can hear what punishments are going to come to the world this year." So she told her friend, "I'm not able to. I was buried in a reed machzelet, okay, which means like a wrap that was made out of reeds. That was what she was buried in, and the nature of that is some of the commentaries explain she wasn't able to get her soul out, or some other explain that she was embarrassed. She didn't have like a nice box, so she was embarrassed of to go out like that. Okay, so whatever that means, she told her, "You go, whatever you hear, Amrli, tell me." Okay, tell me what you hear. So Holcha, the other spirit, went Vishata, and she floated Uba, and she came. She told her friend, "Chaverti, my friend, what'd you hear from the other side of the curtain? What'd you hear that's going on in the courts of heaven? That the punishment that's going to come into the world?" And Amrullah, she told her, "Shamati, I heard. Shekol Zareba Ravi Roshana. Whoever plants this year, first quarter, okay, Borad Malko, so there's going to be hail that's going to ruin the planting." So this chassid, he heard this go on. So he came home, and then after Rosh Hashanah, after Sukkot, halachu bezara, and he planted, and he waited, and he planted in the second quarter, Ravi Shnia. So what happened was, Shekol Elam Kulei Laka. By the time the second quarter came around, everyone else had already grown a little bit to maturation. So the Baran, the hard hail, came and ruined it. Okay, but his Lailaka, it was still soft, and therefore it wasn't ruined by the hail. Okay, Lashana Acharis, the next year, he figured, let me go again. So Halach, he went, Va'alan Bebeis HaKvaros, he went to sleep in the cemetery. V'shama Isan Shnei Ruchetz, he heard those same two spirits. Shemeshapar Zuazu, one was talking to the other. Amrachan El Chaverta, one told her friend, Ba'ivin, Ashur Ba'ilam, let us go float around. V'nishma Mecher Aparga, we'll hear from the other side of the curtain, Ma Paranas Ba'ilam, what punishments are going to come to the world. And Amrullah Chaverti, her friend told her, Lekach Amarti Lecha, did I not tell you? I'm still buried in this mat of reeds, and I can't. Elachiyat, you go. Masha'at shamat, whatever you heard. Boy V'amrli, go and tell me. Halcha b'shata, she went and she floated. V'amr l'chaverta, she came to her friend and she told her chaverti. Ma shamat me'achar aparg, what did you hear? Amr lo shamati shekol zareba revia shnia. The opposite, whoever plants second quarter, she duffed Malco, so there's going to be blight that's going to hit it, which only is actually going to hit something that's soft, because if it's already hard, the blight, the extra hot winds won't ruin it. So Halach, this guy went. V'zar b'revi rishona, he went and planted it right away. The first that his grain would be mature by the time this blight came. So therefore, shekol ha'olam kula nishtaf, the whole world's got ruined. V'shaloi le nishtaf. So Amr le Ishta, his wife, told him, wait a second, what's going on over here? Why is it that Eshtakad last year, shekol ha'olam kula laka? Everyone else had a hard time in the economy, but you did okay. And this year, shekol ha'olam kula nishtaf, everyone else has received this blight. Okay? And you don't seem to be having a problem. So Sachla Kol Advarim Halalu, he told him the whole thing that happened. You got angry at me, and I went to sleep with them. And I heard these ruchos that were speaking to each other. So Amru, they said, it wasn't many days. Okay? Now what happened is the wife of this chassid, sometime later, got into a fight with she got into an argument, a quarrel with the mother of one of these spirits. Okay, so Amr Allah, she slipped, the wife of the chassid, and she told her, go check it out for yourself. You adorable mother, you buried your daughter in her mat of reeds. Okay, so Lashana, the next year, we're at the first wide line. The next year, again, this guy went to hear the spirits talking. He heard these spirits speaking to each other. And Amr Allah, he heard her say, let's go around and float. We can hear what punishments are coming. Amr Allah, she told her, my friend, leave me alone. Because the things that are between you and me, I thought were private. The live people are already talking about. Okay? So any event, the commentaries explain that obviously this chassid wasn't using people to find out the future, because that's strictly forbidden by Torah law. The concept of Ovi Adoni, this is strictly forbidden. So they explain that this was all done through a dream. But in any case, Alma, says the Gemara, Yadai, we see that the dead people do know things. So the Gemara says, no, Dilma Inish Achrina Shachiv Azal. Maybe someone else died and showed up there and told them about this story. So therefore they found out that people were talking about it, but not that they themselves know. Okay? Tashma, I'll teach another proof. Deziri, okay, this was Deziri having mafkid zuzi gabesh bezichte. He would leave his money with a caretaker. One day he came and Lebei Rav Shchiva, he had gone back to the yeshiva. He came back to him to collect his money, and the guy had died, so he had to find his money. He didn't know where his money was. So he went to the Chatzar Mavis, the courtyard of death, and he showed up there and he said, he asked her, where's my money? Where's my money? She told him, Zil shaklinu misusi bitsanra didasha bedoch plan. Go take your money. It's in this particular place. Okay, bedoch plan, particular place. So he said sunra dedusha beduch plan. It's in the door hinge socket, right, which is a hole in the threshold in such and such a place. And this is beduch plan. Ve'ema la le'ima, and she said, and tell my mother. Okay, tishadali mizrakai beguftai dekuchla bahadi plinta da'asi lamachar, and tell my mother. Make sure you tell my mother to send my tube of a blue, okay, or this kind of makeup. Okay, with my comb and this tube of makeup with this woman who's coming. Okay, that's what the dead woman told the caretaker. Told this over to Zeiri. So what do you see? You see that al miyadai. You see that they know when people are dying. They know what's going on. Okay, so the Gemara says no. Dilma Duma kadimu machrislu. Duma, who's the official caretaker of the dead people in heaven, maybe he came and announced it that so and so is about to die. Okay, so therefore that's not a proof. Tashma, come in here. Davu de Shmuel, the father of Shmuel, Hamakamav Gabi Zuze Diasmi. The orphans used to give him their money to watch. He was a fund manager of orphans' money. Okay, is the father of Shmuel, and one day he died. So when he died, Shmuel Gabi Shmuel wasn't near him, and therefore no one knew where the money was. So they used to call Shmuel Bar Achel Zuze Diasmi. You're the son of the guy who stole the orphans' money. So so he had to find his dad and find out what's going on. So he went to the courtyard of death, and Amr Lahu, and he told the guard there, Be'ina Abba, I need dad. So Amr Lahu, Abba Tuvek. There's a lot of Abbas over here, or guys by the name of dad, name of Abba. Amr Lahu, no, Be'ina Abba Bar Abba, I need Abba the son of Abba. Amr Lahu, also Abba Bar Abba Nami Tuvek. It's like, I need Mr. Goldberg. There's a lot of Abbas over here. So Amr Lahu, he told him, Abba Bar Abba Avud Shmuel. I need Abba Bar Abba, who is the father of Shmuel. Okay? Hey, where is he? Amr Lahu, they told him, Salik L'Masifta Rakia. He's not here. He actually went to the Shiva up above. So Adachi, so as he was going up there, he was going up the escalator to the Shiva in heaven. He saw Levi, okay, who was obviously Bar Plukta of Shmuel. Levi, we find Levi always, he was sitting outside. He wasn't let in the yeshiva. He told him, why are you sitting outside? My time is locked. Why don't you go up to the yeshiva? He told me, they told me, all those years to Rav Ephes, that you didn't go into the yeshiva when Rav Ephes was the Rosh Yeshiva, and you didn't give him the satisfaction of coming to the yeshiva. You made him feel bad. We're not letting you in the yeshiva. Okay, so as this was going on, his father came, and Chazia saw that he was crying. Okay, and he was laughing. Shmuel saw that his father, Avud Shmuel, okay, Abba Bar Abba, Avud Shmuel, was crying and laughing. So Amalei, my time of kabachis. Why are you crying? Amalei told him because you're coming up here. You're pitching next Friday. You're on your way up. So he told him, my time, why are you laughing? So he said, I'm happy because you're very important in this world. You're a big Torah scholar, and you're actually very important in this world. So Amalei, he told him, and so he turned to the other guys up there in the heaven, and he said, if I'm in fact quite honorable over here, then my word should have some weight. And now Levi, let Levi go into the yeshiva then. And they let him. They let Levi go in. So Amalei, so he turned to his father and he told him, Zuzi diasmi heicha, where is the money, the zuzim of the orphans? He told him, Zil, go shaklinu ba'amza derechaya, go and go actually check in the rechaya means the mill. Okay, so the base of the mill, go check in the base of the mill. You will dig and you will find that the upper money, the first stage that you hit, is ours, and then you'll hit the Yisomim's money, and underneath you'll find more money. Okay, so therefore the top and the bottom are ours. And the middle ones is the orphan's money. So I'm going to lay my time to do it like this. He told him, what would be done? If a thief comes and starts to find the hole, and he digs up, he's going to, and hopefully he'll be satisfied with just our money, and he'll steal ours. And if the land is going to erode the money, if there's going to be an erosion, hours. But I want to make sure that the Yisomims was always guarded. So it's actually the exact opposite. People were accusing Shmuel of being the son of the one who ran off with the Yisomim's money, when in fact he went to extra lengths just to make sure that the money was safe. So Alma, what do we see? Diadai, that they knew that he was coming. Shmuel's father knew that Shmuel was going to die. The Gemara says no, because Dilma Shani Shmuel was different. Came into Chashivi, since he was in fact Chashiv, he was a very high stature. Kadmi Umakrazi Panu Makom. They actually had a hodah, they had a warning that said, everyone make sure there's room for Shmuel who's coming up. Okay, so tomorrow we'll continue from here. We're at 3 lines in the bottom of Daf Yud Ches Amud Beis.